Alright, we are watching the Solar Eclipse 2020. We're watching it on CGTN, Annual Celestial Event Happening. This is out of Dubai, and this is the part of the world that it's crossing over: China, India, part of the Middle East. We had the first set of eclipses for them, for India, a little over 5 years ago. And let me see, is when all this mess really started for me, was that about a few months before that eclipse, to where all of the the clergy, some of the people in India, they had to flee. Now it's in New Delhi in India. They're showing us different ones. But this is a ring of fire, so it doesn't perfectly cover the sun. And you have that outer ring that you get to see, which has a different meaning in different astrologies around the world. It would be a good video or a good study for somebody who wanted to go into it. The different types of eclipses that we have. Throughout history, the most significant event has always been the eclipse. It's something even the average person saw as an omen. Typically, like a solar eclipse is like the death of the sun. And then to have the moon disappear. That's kind of how religion all started. And the populations were easily manipulated that didn't understand these things. You could tell them anything, they'd believe it. I guess a lot of people are still like that today. I wish they would switch back to the other view. They keep switching around. I liked the view from Dubai. They're even showing us one from China. I started off, it was from China, and I decided to watch it with you guys. Now, for this to be happening on the solstice, it makes it even more important. And this is actually a part 2 eclipse for them, for this part of the world. Like I said, they've already had theirs. Might be about 6 or so years ago. Actually, it was right when I got to California. So, we've been a long way since then. But this is the part 2 to them. And eclipses, when they run in pairs, they always make that X. The sun belt is not a straight line. The earth wobbles, so it draws a shadow like a helix, a double helix. Let me turn off this chat over here. Can I get the chat off? Still in New Delhi. I've cut the sound. I guess I'll be okay with this one. This channel is kind of funded by the Chinese government, so I don't think I'll be copyrighted. Which you can come over here. I'm crediting them, CGTN. So you should be able to come over here and watch them as well. A lot of you seem to be up tonight. A lot of comments, a lot of people watching my videos. It's 12:16 a.m. here in Oklahoma. I guess I'll just talk to you while we watch this. I'm thinking we might have missed most of it depending on what part of the world you're in, with which part you get to see. And I've kind of popped around to different ones, but this one had multi-view from different places around the world. So I thought I would use it. Not the best view, but still for the purpose of it. So we can see how it appears from different places. Because not everybody even in the path, not everybody gets to see the ring of fire. Only a certain few that are in direct line. Now, other things that about eclipses. When the sun and the moon are together like that, in the Vedic, that's going to include Rahu and Ketu, because they're the nodes of the moon. So they're going to be lined up with this eclipse as well. You have to factor that in if you're using the Vedic. If you're studying that and adding that to your charts, you need to keep that in mind as well. That they are at the same degrees exactly that the eclipse is happening. Now, some say the eclipse is happening in Gemini, and we are in a back and forth because of a leap year. And in all actuality, this is happening on the line between Taurus and Gemini. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack from a lot of people because of the way I divide the chart by the stars. The stars tell you what constellation they're in, just by their names and their attributes. It's a big jump from Aries, fire, to Pisces, water. And the names of those stars go along with whether they're fire or water, whether they're masculine or feminine, whether they're cardinal or mutable. So it's easy to see when a constellation begins and ends. Some astrology does it by degrees. You start at the spring equinox, which is a day of balance, where everything is perfectly even between day and night. And you count 30 degrees from there. And you do that 12 times to get your 360-degree circle. Then there's the Western astrology, which would count 23.5 degrees off of the spring equinox. Why? A lot of excuses, but I think they're more aligned with magnetic north instead of true north, or celestial north. There's a difference between the north of the earth and the north of the heavens. Big event. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of the crazy of the year. Like I said, 2020 has been something I've studied more than anything in astrology. It's where it all began for me. And it began back before 2012, when I started figuring out what astrology was. We're in Karachi, Pakistan. I saw nothing in no celestial event at all in 2012. But there was, 2020 was crazy. Never seen anything like it. And you think the first half of this year's been insane? You've not seen anything, because the ride begins now. I've been telling you, we've been at a late night double feature picture show. This is the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and it's a late night double feature picture show, and we've been on intermission, and now it's time for part 2. It's the double feature at the King Drive-In. I've lived this. Every experience of my life has been talking about this year and what's going on astrologically. It's opposite from the summer solstice. When we talk about a winter solstice, we move from a ring of fire, solar eclipse, to a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, or where Jupiter eclipses Saturn. And when Jupiter eclipses Saturn, from the right perspective, it looks like Jupiter is trying to put on Saturn's crown. So you see these little wings that poke out the side of Jupiter. You can see the side of the rings of Saturn, the light from them. And Jupiter's name in Babylonian and a few Aramaic tongues still use it today is Nibiru. It's the name of Jupiter. That's really Jupiter in fire, which would be more Sagittarius, right? It's the fire name of Jupiter, Nibiru. But it is when Jupiter tries to steal Saturn's crown. And Jupiter's been in power for a long time, and they go through this celestial dance every 20 years. This year, it happens on a winter solstice, at the darkest of dark. It's when you have more night than day. Today, we have the most daylight. We're in Dubai. Here's the good one, Dubai. Now, this is happening in the Middle East. You're going to get to see that ring of fire. They're going to get to see it. This is very important. This is the world's stage. And when the intermission is over and the show begins, I hate that I lose my train of thought. I'm going to leave, well, I'm not live, but I'm going to leave it running so that we don't miss anything on the eclipse. But I'm going to walk away and go get me something to drink. I didn't bring a water with me. I sat down just to watch it, but then I thought I should record it. And then I had to update my recorder, and my subscription had expired, so I had to go through all that. So let me go get a drink. Luckily, I had water nearby. So this Saturn-Jupiter conjunction happens every 20 years. And for the most part, because we're in an age that is ruled by Jupiter, Jupiter has really gotten the upper hand. They've been happening in houses of water and fire that Jupiter rule. They've been happening in what I call friends of Jupiter and those houses. But this time, it's happening in Saturn's house. And it's happening on a solstice. And it's happening where Mercury is going to be conjunct, pretty much combust of the sun. And the moon is going to be conjunct Mars in Pisces. So it is going to be the show of all shows. All of these things that I just mentioned are extremely important in themselves, but when they happen in sequence with one another, especially on a solstice, this is not a double take, but a triple take. You better look, and you better look again. Because one of the first things we read in the Bible, which is a manual, by the way, is that on the fourth day, when Creator created this sun and the moon, and He created them first for signs, pointing the way, for symbols, so that we can understand. The universe doesn't speak language. Nature doesn't speak language. Nature speaks symbols. And those symbols are set. The heavens are set. Man is always trying to change the times and the seasons. But nature will correct the problem. The zodiac is nature's alchemical magic circle. It belongs to nature. And that authority is been given to Saturn. And Saturn just went into a 36-year cycle of control on one level, and like a Kabbalistic level. We just entered a 36-year cycle of Saturn control. On the first eclipse that went across India, this is really about India more than the Middle East or even China, northern India, because the last eclipse, it went across southern India. So this is part 2 for them. A lot's going on in the world that we don't see about, we don't hear about, because ever since Donald Trump came into office, even before, the news cycle is only about American politics and the economy. You're not shown what's going on around the world with the weather and how the world is really falling apart everywhere. The significance of this particular Saturn-Jupiter conjunction of 2020 is that it's happening in Saturn's house of government. So, for almost 10 years now, I've been telling everybody that in 2020, we're getting a new government. We're not going to have the same government that we had. And that almost seemed impossible, especially when Donald Trump's coming on the scene, trying to change it back to the way things used to be, back to the good old days. But that's not what the stars said. It's to get something new birthed, you have to get rid of the old. The old empire is coming down. The question is, what replaces it? Well, it's going to be something strict. There's going to be a lot of government control. They're going to tear it down so hard that the governments are going to have to step in. The plan is for the blue hats to step in. They want to get the blue hats, especially on American soil, but worldwide. South America is really where it erupted first, because they forced socialism on them while we were being socialized through the Obama administration. But you still thought you were a democracy, which is a lie too. The country was founded as a republic. A democracy is an age-old Greek thing. It's very Jupiterian. Jupiter rules religion. Jupiter rules all the Greek mythology. That's all under Zeus, which is Jupiter. So now, Aquarius, everything is handed over to Saturn. Jupiter rules desire and empire. And man has been very easily manipulated because of his desires in this age. Nothing has been impossible once they ate from the tree of knowledge. And wicked things they do, good and evil. So we're coming to a time in Aquarius that it's an age you're ruled by Saturn, and that's your crown chakra. That's your higher self. Pisces under Jupiter has been an age of groupthink, power in numbers. It's very tribal in nature. And if you can't fit into the family group, they've got some group for everybody. It's all about division, separation into groups. The next age is about individuality and sovereignty, but as a group. Let me explain. Aquarius, run by Saturn, That's the Messiah. He says, no man takes my life, I lay it down. He's the one who gives himself for the whosoever. He's the one, singular, individual, sovereign. Capricorn is about government, military, policemen, firemen. I even put waitress in this category because it's the one, singular, sovereign, independent, who serves the many. We call them civil servants, educators, instructors, teachers. This is a cardinal sign. It's one of authority. It's one of the true govern of the mind from the crown chakra. The govern of the mind that we have now is one of desire. It's for profit. What you're actually witnessing, the battle of fire and ice before your eyes. The moon rules water and the sun rules fire. And it's the battle of fire and ice. It's that elusive Star of David symbol we've seen for so long. It's the only symbols that were allowed. The God of the Old Testament of fire forbade symbols of heaven and earth. You could only have symbols of water and fire. So this battle has been going on for so long and we're all so tired of it. But we're moving into an age we're not going to be ruled by our passions, our emotions, or our desires. We're going to be ruled by sovereignty. But we'll still be a group. Like Capricorn. The teacher is just one of many. The policeman, the politician, the serviceman, they're just one of many. It's everybody gives their part, what they can do to the whole. Where Aquarius is the one that sacrifices himself for the whole. No man takes my life, I lay it down. It's the self-martyr for the betterment of the whole. To where this age is you take the whole group to better the 1%. It's way upside down. So we're getting to watch the ending of the show, right? The Game of Thrones, the Valkyries, the Lord of the Rings. All of it ends the return of the king, the sovereign one. And we each get our own crown. We each get our crown chakra, the frequencies that will come from the gate of the spring equinox when the universe is balanced. The energy that comes through will affect the sun. When Aquarius moves there, those stars are going to change the frequency of the sun. And then it already is changing the frequency of all the planets. From Pluto all the way to Mercury. They're all changing. They're all in transmutation. They're all becoming. And what they're becoming is going to be stable, fixed, sure. Aquarius is a fixed sign. This is the age of change. And you're here for the big show. You're here for the changing of the guard. And we're getting to watch it. It's incredible. It really is incredible. You know, we were lied to about everything. Back in Dubai here. It's amazing that we get to watch this. I wanted to go live stream, but that takes a lot more doing. You can't just push a button and go live stream. And I didn't want to miss it, so I thought I would at least record it. Let me get a drink. Oh, that's good. I'm probably going to have to go get me a fresh one here in a minute. There's not much left in that one. So these eclipses, the biggest sign in the heavens. And throughout the traditions and the cultures and the different peoples around the world, they all have different symbols that they use to identify. But they have one set of symbols that's all the same, all the way around the world. And those are the alchemical symbols. You have to know the ledger of symbols for what you're learning. There are circles within circles, and each circle will use the symbols in a different way. Right now, the symbols are being perverted. And so the universe is like taking a picture. The moon crosses the sun. It's like the shutter on the camera, and it's taking a picture. And it's asking us what we all want. And the media and the governments of the world, they've perverted all the symbols. So what the collective subconscious and what the universe sees when it takes this picture is becoming an ugly one. Hopefully what I've learned is correct, and really the people that it's taking a picture of are what it's from a subconscious level, and it's an alchemical process that began with those who were born with Pluto and Virgo. And it's a changing of the guard from those of us born with Pluto and fire. Of Leo, we started the fire. Now it is the transmutation of Pluto in Virgo that manifests now. And it's going to manifest, it's going to skip by fixed Earth, and it's going to manifest cardinal Earth. And it's their subconscious, it's their collective, it's their group, it's their time. The microphone has been taken from them. They've been told to sit down and shut up. They have been censored every way possible, threatened, just freaking deleted, dismissed. And the microphone has been handed basically to Pluto in Scorpio, which is one of emotions. And it's what we call the emo generation. They've been given the microphone. And hopefully I'm right, and it doesn't matter who has the microphone, because the universe don't know your words. It just knows your symbols. And it's listening to the collective subconscious of Pluto and Virgo. It's their turn, not yours. You're just being used to try to manipulate it. But it's not your turn. And you are now spending your own futures, and you don't even realize it. Anyway, thankfully, what's coming down the pipe is going to be seen differently by everybody, depending on what pillar you're on. Where are you at? Are you in this battle of the solar pillar and the lunar pillar? Or are you going to be on that middle pillar, that middle path, that fixed cross, and just observe and watch the show? Are you on the stage? Are you a participant? Or are you in the audience observing? Because we're all at the opera house. And some are on the stage, some are backstage, some are directing, some are in casting. They've always got backup plans. There's people out in the wings. There's people out in the alley behind. Everybody plays a part. And predominantly, it's for the audience. The show is for the observer. That's the one that really matters, because the observer affects the experiment. The reaction of the audience affects the actors on stage. They want to be applauded. They want to be loved. They're attention seekers. We find them on the stage. They're the activist. The one that their sovereign self is not enough, so they must qualify themselves to others in the world. We are becoming. This is a time of transmutation. You're not going to get another chance like this. in all of this chaos. You've been given the opportunity with the COVID, stay at home, and all of it going on, just to really do you. You need to learn to do you. The first thing you need to let go of are those two outer pillars. You need to be Samson, and they've got you chained to them two pillars, and you need to bring them down, right on top of yourself. Destroy the ugly worlds that we've created. We're the one manifesting this. We're the one manifesting our future. The 2020 conjunction. And beginning now with this ring of fire. Remember, it's a ring. Remember what we do with the ring. You put the ring on your sun finger. That's your sun finger. The pinky finger is Mercury. The index finger is Jupiter. This is the age of Mercury and Jupiter, Virgo and Pisces. That elusive, as the media calls it, Satan symbol. That is their symbol. That is their gods. And Mars. Rome has always worshipped Mars and Jupiter, openly, admittedly, always been there. Oh wow, we crashed. Let me pause. Okay, we got it back. Still in Dubai. I know I get heavy into my topics and then you lose it. Interference, which we're in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. Let's throw that one in there. Oh yeah, Mercury retrograde, in the middle of all this, part of all this. And in some aspects, Gemini, it being right there between Taurus and Gemini, affecting Mercury's house. That's Mercury's house of being Buddha, Hermes thrice great. It's opposite Sagittarius, which is Jupiter's house of ideology and philosophy. And Saturn and Jupiter are both retrograde in Sagittarius. Woo! This is one crazy solstice. Get ready, because I don't put anything past these people. They're going to play every card in their hand. They've showed you their cards. Go look at them. The Illuminati card deck. They've showed you all the cards. Just go look at them and see the ones that have not been played yet. Wow. They're trying really hard to bump me from this site. Do you know why? Because the observer affects the experiment. The outcome of what we expect to happen is exactly what happens. And I expect to happen what the stars say are going to happen. And it's going to be strict. I shit you not. It's not going to be pretty. But I don't think we're going to have this war of fire. The war is for our hearts and our minds. It's not one of explosion. As a matter of fact, Saturn is the opposite of Jupiter. Jupiter is expansion. Saturn is contraction. It's going to be more of an implosion than an explosion. Rome dies from the inside. It's rotten. It dies from the inside. And we live in the age of Rome. The power base is the Vatican. That power is shifting. It shifts from Europe to South America for Aquarius and to North America for Capricorn. Then it will shift to Asia. It will shift to the Orient in the age of Sagittarius. Unless we get a new circle, which the book says we get a new circle. And I see a new Jerusalem. That's a zodiac coming down out of heaven. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. That's a zodiac. The Egyptian Dendera zodiac is Greek, not Egyptian. The Ptolemies did it. They were of Greek descent. A lot of what they pawn off to us as Egyptian is just Greek in Egyptian style or motif, ambience, flavor of the day, which is what these people do. They keep changing robes, and they'll change their names, but they're carrying these same damn set of symbols around with them wherever they go. And you can follow them through history. You can follow them through bloodlines. They move to the next country, marry into them, get some family members to marry into it, hub their way, buy their way, steal their way, lie their way, kill there's nothing they won't do to stay in power. And that's because they were the keepers of the knowledge when we all forgot. We forgot. Aquarius is about knowing. And all we have to do to know is just remember. Just remember. And watching things like eclipses, watching the stars rise and fall, especially Fomalhaut and the stars of Aquarius and the stars of Pegasus above the upper house of Aquarius, are stars of remembering. The hippocampus deals with the memory. Those are the names of the stars in Pegasus, deal with memory. The stars in Aquarius deal with the thalamus and the pineal gland, the third eye, connected to the heart. There are different ways to get to the third eye. You can crawl over the gate. You can come in hermetically. But that it's the straight and narrow path to get you there. The Tree of Life shows you can cheat and get to the crown chakra from the sun pillar or the moon pillar. But that's the broad way. Many go that way. And it all leads to death because you pop your pineal gland at your death. Everybody does. Once that silver cord parts, that's our connection to this place is via the moon. It's like a tether that goes to your belly button. I'm quoting from Ecclesiastes, by the way. Those of you who haven't read the Bible, learn your symbolism and read it. But don't freak out. Don't assume. Just read it. When I first read it, I really didn't understand it. But I did freak out. And to me, there was a vast difference between the God that created the heavens and the earth and the God that created man. And then the God that created the New Testament, the Christ. They're all different. They were all different. And now that I understand earth, water, air, fire and its different aspects, then it all makes sense now. Because if you say God is one, well, that's the circle. That's who's in control, is the magic circle. Well, man made his own little magic spell circle. And it's a spell, all right, especially our languages. We really cast a lot of spells upon ourselves. I say it all the time. We don't even realize it. It's so in our face, it's in our mouth, and we don't even realize it. I mean, why do we drive on the parkway and park on the driveway? And everything else about our language is just a spell. It's there to confuse us. It's to keep us sheep. It don't want us to have our crown chakras. It don't want us to be sovereign. It don't want us to be needy. It needs you to be victimized, traumatized, needy. That's all the government's there for, especially the Democratic branch. The media thinks for you. The black box tells you what to wear, where you need to live, what your ambitions and aspirations are, what your status in society is. They dictate it by the TV, the radio, and the governments. And, it's got to stop. Everybody's their own sovereign. Everybody. And in the next stage, it ain't gonna matter who your family member is, who you're kin to. It's not going to make a difference the color of your skin or what gender you are. what age you are, what you believe, what you think, what you know, it's going to be based on your skills, what you're capable of, merit. Did you earn it? Did you do your homework? And this age of desire, especially since we've reached the Industrial Revolution and all this materialism, there's so much, it keeps you tethered here. The only thing that should keep you tethered here is somebody you love, or somebody that loves you. You should only stay here as a sacrifice of self to help others. That's probably the only reason we should leave, too. We're created in a funny way. I can't scratch my own back. Somebody else has to do it for me. And I have to do it for somebody else. We are dependent upon one another. But that does not say we don't have sovereignty. Each person has their own mind. You're as unique as your own body. We've been lied to when we're told all men are created equally. No, we might all come into this world the same way. Some don't even do that. Some come through C-section. They don't even pass through the mother. So, no, there are no two alike. There are no two birth charts alike. Two people can't, even twins, their rising signs, just a few minutes apart, can change everything. The most important thing you can do for yourself right now is to learn the correct symbolism and take the time and learn the names of the stars in the different languages and what those names translate to. And you will open a lot of knowledge about yourself. Meditation. If you want to know something, then you meditate on that thing. If you want to understand astrology, meditate on the heavens. You spend your time, your meditation, on what it is you want to know. If you want to understand the pineal gland, then meditate about your own. Meditate that you're sitting in front of yourself, looking at that spot. You need to see you. You got to project yourself out of your body. Wow, I can't get over how thirsty I am. Almost out. What else do I want to talk about? Somebody sent me a karma care package. Thank you. Oh my goodness, I'm overwhelmed. I have the most beautiful crystal. A lot of stuff in the care package. But I am really fond of this crystal I've been given. I can't even explain it. I'll have to take some pictures of it and show it to you guys. It is having quite an effect on me. And I'm really just in awe of it. I'm enamored with it. I adore it. I even want to use the word love. I'm just overwhelmed with this crystal. And I am affected by stones and gems. I always have been, even rocks. I would walk in gravel and I would see one little pretty rock that I liked that was maybe different from the others or just stood out. And I wanted it and I'd put it in my pocket. And I catch myself, before I knew it, I had a little collection of rocks. And you get to think, what am I doing with all these rocks? I just found them beautiful. I'm attracted to them for whatever reason. There's so much that goes on within our bodies and our subconscious that we're not aware of. Because there's a separation, there's a veil, there's a divide between, we're almost there, between our conscious and our subconscious. And to me, that's the last veil that will come down. To remove the veils, there are many, there's 7. It's called the dance of the 7 veils, or the 7 chakras. It's the 7 churches in Asia in Revelations 1. The 7 veils, the same thing. You have to remove the veil and see the truth behind it. And That's one of the last veils that'll come down. And we will truly move into knowing. And to move into knowing is simply, we're just going to remember. Because this is something we've always known. And I think that's probably the most prevalent thing about the people that come to my channel that resonate with this, is because you've always had a knowing. And when you start hearing this information, even just a little bit of it, you know it's true because you've always known it. You just didn't know how to explain it. That's why they call it an oral tradition. You can't get this in a book. You can't write it down. It's an understanding. It's a way of seeing. It's looking at the world with your third eye instead of your right or your left eye. Being the observer. You knew there was more to this. You knew this life is not what we're being told it is, not what it appears to be. Is it a matrix? It's something, isn't it? You look up the word matrix and it tells you womb. W-O-M-B. You grow and you transmute in the womb, and then you're born to the world. So we're coming to a time of birthing. We birth from one age to the next. But to me, this whole place is upside down. I call birth death, and I call death being birthed, coming alive. To me, there's no such thing as death, really. If anything is death, it's coming to this place. You're put in a body made of dirt and water. It's just mud. And you're underground. You're 6 feet under. When you observe yourself, when you come out of your body, you have a near-death experience, and you hover above yourself. You're hovering 6 feet above yourself. That's why they build ceilings at certain heights. Mark Twain. Mark Twain is a nautical term, and it means 2 fathoms or 12 feet under. So to be really dead, they put you 6 feet in the ground, then you're really dead. Because you're Mark Twain then. You're 2 fathoms under your higher self. Conscience is not local to the body. We're somewhere else. We're above at a different frequency. Only part of ourselves are operating here. And we seem to have a communication breakdown for the last 21,600 years. We have been without our pineal gland being activated. And now the sun's changing, and it's going to move to a frequency that's going to activate our pineal glands. They're trying to shut down the dome and run 5G so that they cannot open the pineal gland. If they want to keep us at a 5G when we need to move to a 7G, 77. Think about what I just said. For you numerical people, I always recommend Ronald Mr. Tackpan's channel for numbers. He is his avatar code or handle is Raphael 7286 in the constellation of Pegasus. And he remembers. He don't even know why he chose that name. I actually found 7286 in the constellation of Pegasus. It's actually an existing star. And he did not know that either. He didn't know why he does what he does. But he's definitely connected to something. And channels some awesome information. It's so over my head. I get what he's doing. I get where it's coming from. But it's hard to decipher, just like what I'm doing. It's hard for most people to understand it. You gotta know so much to really get it. And, you know, who's got time this late in life to learn a dozen different languages? And, it's a lifetime. It's an experience. It's a journey. It's incredible. But that circle is something else. As a whole, it's one, but it has many parts, and it represents nature. And the power shifts and change. But the greatest power, the power of what we would call consciousness or thought, and that connected with the heart, that Saturn-Venus connection. And that's the great thing about the next 2 ages, is we'll have no Jupiter or Mercury influences at all. They go to the bottom of the totem pole, to the very bottom of the totem pole. We're going to have more of a red man, a Native American, North and South American tradition. We're going to go back into touch with nature. Saturn rules agriculture, and Saturn rules nature. And yeah, I live in Coalgate, Oklahoma now. I'm at the Coalgate. The coal, Saturn rules coal and crude. You take it out of the earth in its natural state. So, and you take the coal and you put it under enough pressure and it becomes a diamond. And that's Saturn's business. That's what Saturn does. You're just carbon. You're just coal. And he's going to put you under so much pressure, you become a diamond. So I'm at the Coalgate, and when I pass through the gate, you're refined, you're purified, you're that diamond. But remember, every diamond has a flaw, and that's what makes you unique, are your flaws. Those are some of the greatest things about you. I used to be very, very self-conscious as a preteen. I had a lot of competition. I'm short, olive complected, dark hair, dark eyes, and I had all these really tall, blonde-haired, super white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed sisters. And it was always a competition. I was always self-conscious. I was the ugly duckling. I have these little weird quirks about me, and I would always be mocked for it. And but I realized those are my flaws are my greatest attributes. Now, I'm a bit of a hermit. People can take it the wrong way. I live with 2 other people, and I spend 90% of my time in my room by myself. And of course, one of them being family, they know that's just the way I am. I'm not being rude. I'm not antisocial. I'm just off in my head doing my thing. I'm just doing me. I'm just doing me. But I do come out and socialize. I don't stay in here all the time. I got a visitor this week. One of my subs came to see me. Unsurprised. I was bad timing. If you're going to come visit, give me a heads up. I spent the morning under the house plumbing. I'm trying to redo the bathroom. We had to run the handyman off. He's not a crap. So we finally got everything dried out, and we were under there shoring up the bathroom to replace everything. They'd let the water leak for so long, it had just rotted everything out. So now we're not falling through the floor. Job done. But got me a visitor, and it was very nice too, and I hope it is a repeat occasion. I do like visitors, but I also like to plan. At least I hadn't even showered or anything that day. I was working in the sewer. I was Mario and Luigi that day working in the sewers. So we get to watch this. They've showed it through. I still haven't seen the China one come across again. Maybe it's through over there by the time I got to it. But we're catching the India and then the Dubai. I wonder if they will continue, because I think it does go over parts of Africa, maybe Northern Africa. I wonder if they catch a little bit of it. I forget the exact path. But there's where you're going to see a lot of change. It's happening in mutable air in one respect, and then fixed earth in another respect, or a little of both. So you can expect earthquakes on the Taurus part, which Taurus is actually related to Africa. So might start seeing even anywhere on that zone. But it is India that represents Gemini for the age of Gemini. And because of the previous eclipse that went the other way over southern India, and it came from the other direction, I find it to be the most significant. Is this has to do with everywhere it crosses and the whole world, but mostly this eclipse to me, from my perspective, is more about India, or northern India, and Pakistan. So if you're going to see a clash between water and fire, it's going to be an India-Pakistan thing, because that's where this is mirrored from the first eclipse. Okay? And now for the whole world, the timeline, it is the beginning of the completion of the winter solstice, the shortest day. So, and they're all happening in the same houses, of mutable air, Gemini, fixed earth, Taurus, mutable fire, Sagittarius, cardinal earth, Capricorn. 2 houses, ruled by Venus and Mercury at the bottom, and by Saturn and Jupiter in the winter. So, wow. It's like a cage match. And Mercury's retrograde, and Jupiter's retrograde, and Saturn is retrograde. And don't forget, Pluto's hanging out with Saturn and Jupiter. Another reason why the alchemical process of those born with Pluto and Virgo is so important, because Pluto is now moved from your natal mutable earth in Virgo to cardinal earth. It's your time of the transmutation from the subconscious, and it happens to land in a house of manifestation. Capricorn is the house of let there be. When God said, let there be light, but you moved to the age of Sagittarius. But it was the age of Saturn. And we're going to get a glimpse. Like I said, it's going to be horrific till we get where we're going. But once we get where we're going, all this crap that Jupiter and those that serve Jupiter have put on us, they're fixing to lose everything. They're fixing to be put down. They're not going to be wiped out by any stretch of the means. We are not yet in Aquarius. This battle will continue, but they're fixing to take, if I had to pick a verse out of the Bible, I would say this is going to be the deadly wound. We're going to get to see the beast system hit with a deadly wound, and that's going to give the world a reprieve. We're going to have a reprieve when this beast is hit. But by no means its death. It will make a comeback, but then it will be its final comeback, and then we will truly be in the age of Aquarius. The process to move from one age to another is 216 years. You know, the Jews, that's their number for God, 216. Well, each age it takes 3 degrees, and each degree is 72 years. So 72 times 3 is 216. You're 1 degree in Pisces, 1 degree on the line between the two, Pisces, Aquarius, and then 1 degree in Aquarius. And so 3 degrees. Each age is 2,160 years long. Add a 0. Jupiter began the fall and ends the fall. From Sagittarius all the way around the circle for 10 ages into Pisces, from fire to water. That's 21,600 years. So you add another 0. And that's how these cycles work. And so we are not yet through that 216 years. Now, we had a tsunami in 2012. If anything happened in 2012, it was the tsunami. And it knocked us off by 1 degree. So all of a sudden, 72 years just disappeared. So we're left to deal with 144 years. Anybody? 144? 2 times 72? Fibonacci sequence, you get there 13 by 13 numbers and 13 sets, and we do it 12 by 12, 144 for a, is that a gross? We call 144 a gross. 12 packs of 12, 12 dozen of 12, a dozen. They keep trying to give us the baker dozen, that extra donut. I have 2 opinions on the 13th sign. I've done told you both. And it's not Ophiuchus and it's not Orion. But the sun, my sun is in Ophiuchus. Well, then you need to put Orion in there and Cetus in there. The sun snakes up and down. It's not always in Ophiuchus. It don't always pass in that upper house. It's just the upper house of Scorpio. Just like part of Orion belongs to Gemini and a part of Orion belongs to Taurus. You have to know which ones by the names of the stars. Now, let me get my last drink here. When we finally do make the move and everybody, the frequency will change, which changes our DNA, so man's going to change. We see that in the, what they call evolution. We don't evolve. We do not evolve. We mutate. We transmutate. We're inside of a transmutation circle of nature. And it's a good thing. But you know, at the end, when we've been through coagulation, is where we're at. Coagulation and fermentation. Put us all into the big cauldron and stir us around. And now it's time for distillation. It's time for purification. You got to extract the spirits. And you do that by putting the fire under them. You make the diamond by putting the pressure on it. So life is an experience so that you become the diamond instead of a lump of coal. Not cold. All right. I'm going to pause this because I'm going to be gone a few minutes. Nah, I'll just let it run so y'all can watch it. I am going to get me a cold water this time. Be back momentarily. Talk amongst yourselves. Or to yourself. I'm back. New Delhi, India. Here we go. To me, this is what it's about. This is about India. I've been watching the patterns are more about India. So I expect earthquakes through India and Pakistan, maybe even floods. Fire. We got the fire the opposing fire of Sagittarius and the air of Gemini, and then because it's on that line, right, you're going to have the Taurus Scorpio too. I'll have to show that to you guys in Stellarium when this finishes, but I want to say it was 2016 was the first year that the summer solstice fell in Taurus, and it jumps in and out now because of leap year. Yeah, leap year. It changes the day. The number is actually 321, but because of leap year, sometimes the spring equinox falls to 322, and that's the significance of 322, is it's the spring equinox. It's the balance. It's the beginning. It's the eastern gate. It's the gate to heaven. It's the seat of power. The eastern gate is the seat of power. And whoever, when they come in the eastern gate in a constellation like Pisces, is not going to be done. It's just going to fall to the bottom of the totem pole. But Pisces will exist in power as it moves through the summer solstice and 3 eons. And when a place is out of power, it's from the fall equinox to the winter solstice. And thankfully, this winter solstice and this conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter that's coming, it's called the Great Conjunction. It does happen approximately every 20 years. It's a generational marker that tells whatever house it happens in, tells us who's going to be in control and what the transmutation is going to be about, what the generation is going to be about. In our physical world, Pluto tells us on a subconscious level, but his alchemy is much slower. What you're born under with Pluto doesn't manifest until almost your second Saturn return, is when it begins to manifest into it, coming into it. So the alchemy for each planet is quite unique. You know, I do the charts with Saturn returns. There's no reason why you can't do a study and look at all of your returns. Venus return, you know, every 2 years, thereabout, you just keep going through them all. And you can learn so much about yourself and your life, especially from a hindsight point of view. I mean, this is 2020. It's the year of hindsight. We're supposed to be looking back. And right now we're under a Mercury Retrograde. So it's really a great time to look back. And you have to think about what a solar eclipse means when you got a Mercury Retrograde occurring at the same time. Right there. In the mix. It's a stamp. It's a seal. We're starting the race with 3 major players, Jupiter and Mercury, who rule this freaking age, and Saturn are all retrograde. Right now it looks like Jupiter's running back into his own house and Saturn's chasing him down. I call it the Great Waltz. It's the dance in the heavens. And it's a beautiful thing, but it manifests down here in chaos. But there will be order. We've been in chaos for a long time. It's just it's the norm. It's the norm to have chaotic lives. I mean, very few people don't have anything to do when they get up. Our lives are, you hit the ground running. Very few people have the time to get up and meditate. You know, you're on one of those 2 pillars, you have to hit the ground running. And they mean to keep us that way. They want to keep you in a panicked state all the time. They want to keep you stressed out. You're either in fear, hate, anger, anything to evoke those lower chakras and those adrenal glands. Your chakras, which are the planets, are connected to your endocrine system in your body. Oncology, cancer, endocrinologist. It's all about your glandular system. Which secretes a fluid that causes a chemical reaction. This is all chemistry. It's all alchemy. Every freaking bit of it. And it's playing out in the heavens, and it's playing out around us, and it's playing out inside of us. And there are gates and doors. To get out, you have to go in. You don't need to be on the left side or the right side. You need to be on the inside. You need to go within you. There we go. New Delhi blacked out. Or did we just lose screen? I actually wasn't paying attention. I was off in my... No, there it comes. There's the ring. There's the ring of fire. Just pour. I can barely see it. But this is the beginning. I'm glad y'all could all be here with me at 11123. Oh, they just had the lens over it. Is that what they were doing? Oh, there we go. Much better shot now, but we kind of missed it. All right. I don't want to drag this out too far, but I'd like to give y'all as much information off the top of my head of how freaking serious this eclipse is because of when it's happening, where it's happening, the retrogrades that are all going down. I'm going to pause this here in a minute and take us out into Stellarium, and we're going to look at the same thing. All right, I think I'll just do that right now, so hold on. All right, Saturn and Jupiter there, both retrograde. Saturn and still in Capricorn, coming back into Sagittarius after Jupiter. Mars moving into Pisces. Mars is in Aquarius right now, so he's in fixed air. We have well, we'll get to the eclipse in a minute and show you who's with who. Venus in her own house. Mercury in his own house. Jupiter in his own house. Saturn in his own house. And we can see the eclipse happening here right now. Kind of zoom in, give us a little. Mercury retrograde in his own house. So everything is going to be ass backwards freaking chaos. It's just going to be Looney Tunes. I wouldn't even want to think about what's going to be on the 4th. So in air, we have Mars, Neptune, and they're calling this, see, Taurus. Every other astrologer's calling this Gemini. Every single one. But Stellarium and the stars are calling it Taurus, which says we are on the fixed cross. We are in Aquarius. So we have to, at least we have one bar of the fixed cross already marking a solstice. And it's the one you call the height. It's the longest day of the year. It's the power of the sun. And it's being eclipsed in Venus's house. So I know I'm going to catch flack from everybody about this, because I'm literally the only one that's going to tell you it's in Taurus. And that the effect is going to have, this is work hard for the money. This is about hard work. This is Freemasonry. It's happening over the sun pillar in Freemasonry. Betelgeuse and Soph represent the sun pillar. Rigel and Beatrix represent the moon pillar. They won't even let you name Beatrix anymore. But it's happening over the sun pillar, and when it's water eclipsing fire, and it's an internal war. You need to understand what's going on is an internal war between solar astrology and lunar astrology, between Eastern an Eastern mindset and an Eastern tradition against a Western tradition. This is East against West. And where do you need to be? And this is, you have to give, this is on the line to me. Because like I said, this is going to pop in, this solstice will pop in and out until it's all the way over. That's why it takes 216 years. And their freaking leap year, which we're going to get rid of that. We're going to go to a calendar that's 8 days a week, 9 weeks a cycle, 5 cycles of 72. 8 times 9 is 72. 5 cycles is 360. You mark the turn of each cycle, which are 5, and that gives you 365. We're going to 8 days a week. We're going to get a new day. A new day. A new way. A whole new way of thinking. And we're coming off the base 6 Babylonian timeline, which is what it is. But that's when we get to Aquarius, because we're going to remember what time it really is. And you're going to remember who you are, and you're going to remember you already knew all of this. That you've always known this. We're really going to wake up. This woke crap right now is the deepest nightmare I've ever seen humanity under. There's nothing woke about it. You're still in the dream. I call it faux woke. It's joke woke. Because it's all about the body. It's all about what color you are. It's all about victimization. It's all about what gender you are. Victimization. That divide and divide. That those two fish, keep them divided. The only thing we need to be pulling together are ourselves. Ourselves. So you've got emotion fixing them. You got to think about this eclipse. Thank goodness it's here in Aquarius, because it's moving into Pisces. The emotions are fixing to go bipolar. When Mars is on the feminine axis, especially in this water, he comes off as extremist. He's either, there's no gray area. He's going to just be off the charts emotionally. Everybody will. Everybody has to deal with this Mars in Pisces. I'm just thankful that the way I see this, Mars is still in Aquarius, and this eclipse is going down in Taurus. And that eclipse that's going to mean a big change for what we call Freemasonry, the severity pillar. This is from their own legends. From their own legends. Yeah, big hit. Especially with Venus in the house. And she's going to come right over the evil eye. The real evil eye is this star. But masculine eye, feminine eye. They call it the evil eye. Oops. Oh, she's in retrograde too. So we've got a Venus retrograde. I wasn't even aware of that. See, I've not been paying attention. We've even got a Venus coming out of retrograde. So everybody's retrograde in their own house. Saturn's retrograde in his own house. Mercury's retrograde in his own house. Venus a retrograde in her own house. And Mars fixing to move into, and he's not retrograde, that I know. fixing to move into Pisces and become completely unstable. Mutable sign, mutable water, unstable, feel like you're drowning. But that's just incredible. 4 planets in their own houses retrograde. On an eclipse, on the solar pillar, on the summer solstice. If that's not a look, see, when the word in the Bible is called behold. He says, behold, that means look, pay attention, see. Pay attention, eclipse. Pay attention, eclipse on the solstice. Pay attention, eclipse on the solstice, on the solar pillar. 4 planets, all in their own houses, retrograde. Everybody's going to take a hit. They're going to play every card they have in their hand. They don't have anything to lose. They want to keep you in fear, afraid, unstable, unsure, doubt. You want to know what kills manifestation? Doubt. You want to know why you can't manifest? Because you're given too many choices. And you have to pick that one thing. When you make a wish, it's got to be that one thing. Oh, I want a dress. What color? Who knows? 100 different colors. You're given too many choices. You need to find that one thing. And you meditate on that. You focus on that. You put everything else down and everything else aside. And you'll manifest it. You can wish it into being, literally. But this is going to be chaos off the charts. Coronavirus and the protest, riots, that's nothing. It's nothing. It's going to get crazy. They're probably going to play the blue beam card. They'll play probably an alien card. They'll play every card they have to. As long as it creates panic and chaos. And it'll give them an excuse to get their blue hats on the ground. They're moving ahead with the agenda. Whether they're really playing their cards too fast. They should have. They're panicking. They're panicking. They don't know what to do with all this. They don't know how they can combat all of the energy from the heaven that's actually turned on them. And when I talk about they, I'm talking about those who serve the powers of this age. Mercury and Jupiter. And Jupiter rules ideology and philosophy here. Religion. Groupthink here. So it's about what you believe and your desires and empire. And then Mercury rules commerce. He's the banker. You got the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. He's the banker. He bakes the dough. He's the baker banker. Then you've got the candlestick maker is Jupiter. He's religion. He has the light. He shows you the way. You got to have a novena. You get your candle. And then the butcher is Mars. He's the middle, that line in the X on the Chi-Rho. Let's do the Chi-Rho again. I'm going to just keep showing y'all this till you get it. Jupiter has one axis. Mercury has the other. Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces, water and fire. Mercury rules air and Gemini, and Earth and Virgo. The MJ, MM, everywhere, JJ. And then the one down the middle, that's Mars. That is the masculine axis of the cardinal cross. Libra would be here, but to have Libra, you would have to have that other piece. They eliminated the one side, so they demonized Libra, which is the heart. So this is emotion, desire, empire, commerce, or it's not the money, it's the trade, like Wall Street. It's commerce. We're under maritime law. And Mercury rules navigation, communication, logic, and intelligence. And now this cross is Peter's dying. So this cross is now upside down and mirrored. So you have MM and M down here and JJ. And that's what's going on now, because Peter's dying upside down. He's Peter the Jew, Jew Peter. Our language is backwards. I have been very interested the past couple years. I've been watching a few different people who have been doing the research into reverse speech. And I find it very fascinating. And I notice, because it's the subconscious speaking, and I notice how, like English, like the normal languages, they put the normal languages, yeah, English is abnormal. They put the verb before the subject, the adjective before the subject, and we put the subject before the verb in English. It's different from other languages. And the subconscious is opposed to English. It turns it back the other way. When your subconscious speak, it's putting the adjective before the noun. So I've watched these people, and when they're translating this, they're not aware of this fact. And I'm seeing it clearly. I keep wanting to restructure the saying, the sentence. They'll do a sentence in reverse speech, and the way my brain is putting it back in the right order, it actually it changes the meaning of it. And that's how the scribes scribbled the scriptures and gave us Bible, Bibble, Babble at Babylon. And all of this began with me with unbibbling the scribble. All of it. I wouldn't have believed any of it had it just come from me from astrology or even alchemy. But once you put them all together, it's incredible. It's like having the script or the manual and being able, I read it. I read the images like they are words. All right. I think I'm going to cut this here. I'm an hour and a half into this. It's actually 1:41 in the morning for me. And I've got a lot to do. I just stopped everything because I set aside I wanted to watch the eclipse on the internet. But then I also wanted to share with you guys. So I'll get this processed and try to have it upload by in the morning. And this is the beginning. I would just be prepared. I hate fear porn. So by no means do I want to make anybody afraid. But what's going to happen is going to happen. If you haven't prepared yourself by now, you just need to be in a good place with you. You do you. You can't control what other people do or what they think or what they say. But always be prepared in chaotic times for your family or a bug out. You know, the weather is off the charts around the world, and all the channels I used to watch with the weather, they're just gone. They're not letting us see anything anymore. They just deleted every damn one of them. And but I know how chaotic it is out there. I know what's going on. And we just need to center yourself. You do you. And because this winter solstice coming up, you got 6 months. The next one is going to seal the deal for you. And whatever you're doing, whatever your plans are, whatever you're projecting, whatever chakra you're running off of, that's going to determine what the next 20 years is going to be like for you. So you can see where they want us. They want us in chaos because that's when they have the most power. And because who can defend themselves when they've got the public in chaos? They've got us fighting each other So we leave them alone. They're just doing what they want because we're all fighting with each other. Alright, people. A lot of you don't know, when I tell you, you know what you need to do. You know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be a kind person. You're supposed to go out every day and commit a random act of kindness. And you do it until it becomes second nature to you. You commit those random acts of kindness to a complete stranger. Open a door, a smile, say thank you. Tell that cashier you appreciate them instead of being a Karen all over their ass because they made a mistake. Help your fellow man any way you can. If you can't find a random act of kindness, create one. If you can't find somebody in need, just create it out of thin air. And just be as kind as you can be. When you're doing that, you're banking karma. Saturn rules karma. Karma's coming. There is a payoff. They call it karma and dharma. You need to make sure you're in the good. You need to, it's better than putting money in the bank, is to have karma, or as Matt would call it, soul tokens. Yeah, and I'll have to thank Matt too. I've got a lot of Matt subs over here. I'm starting to notice more and more of you coming on over. Welcome aboard. You're kind of late to the game. You've got a lot of homework to do, but his group is a very intelligent, educated group. It's not going to take you long to catch on. Just go watch a few videos. Each one is a piece of a puzzle. And once you watch enough of them, you'll start to see the big picture. But it's hard to come in this late in the game and try to understand what's going on. But I try my best to keep it on as low of a level as I can. I really want to use big words and not have to stop and explain myself, and I just want to be able to go through a 5-minute video and go, well, this is here and here and here, and that's what this means, and this is what might happen. And we're in duality, so which are the two pillars. We're in the duality. So take yourself out of duality, get on the middle pillar, get on the fixed cross, take up your cross and follow him. And we'll get there. Slowly but surely we'll get there. And I'd like to take this time to thank everybody that's donated to my channel. I've gotten a couple of donations on PayPal. I've gotten a couple of donations in the mail in my Karma Care package that I'm just thrilled about. Nice donation, but you're sending me checks in the mail. I have no way to cash a check here. I have an out-of-state license in another state with a check coming from a third state. And to open a bank account here, you have to have $1,000, and then you can't touch that money. It's there like a deposit. I don't know. Is that even a checking account? What the hell is that? I've never heard of that before. They wanted me to have $1,000 to open one in Las Vegas, but I thought that's just Las Vegas. But no, can't do that. So postal money order's great. Western Union's fine. Money Wire, PayPal with my email, always friends and family. If it gets sent as a payment, it gets stuck. It gets stuck in PayPal, and it has to sit there for like, I don't know, 21 days, and then they take a percentage of it and tax it and all kind of stuff. They just been taking more and more and more lately. Trying to get the Patreon going. Every time I get one step ahead, they kicking me back. I've never fought so hard. I had a friend sit down and open up a Patreon account in a matter of 30 minutes. And I have been fighting them back and forth. Now I'm at another verification problem because, once again, I don't have a bank account. I have a PayPal card, and it's like a prepaid card, and that doesn't count, and they don't want to accept that. When I happen to know somebody that's got one running a NetSpend card, and those are grandfathered in, but no new account. They're not allowing any new accounts At least that's what they're telling me, that you have to have an established account. The web page, you can't even get past the web page. It just won't recognize my bank. Alright, so that's where I'm at on that. So I'm trying to get around it. I'm trying to work with them and see what we can do to bypass that little issue. And when I get it going, I'll give you a notice. Y'all be great. And again, I want to especially thank Susan. Susan, I wouldn't be here without you. I would still be stuck in Las Vegas. And that's a really bad place to be right now, and especially coming up. Those of you in big cities, you need to prepare the most. You have no idea what's coming. These people are desperate, and they will do anything and everything. There's nothing sacred where they're concerned. Nobody and no thing is sacred to them. Right now they're in, they're trying to save their ass mode. That's what's going on. They know they're fixing to lose everything, and they're going to do anything they can to hang on to it. And they know they're going to take a hit. And to me, like I said, I think this is just the deadly wound. We will see this beast is not done yet. And it's not going to go quietly into that dark night. Alright, people. You do you, and bank you some karma. Especially today. Great day to bank karma. Because remember, it's like a camera, a shutter camera. And the universe is taking a picture of you right now. What do you want it to see? How do you want to be remembered? What do you want to manifest for the next 20 years?